This is the Live Well and Thrive podcast, hosted by Michael Torsha, health and wellness expert. It's time to shape up, America.
Hi, it's Mike Torsha. Welcome to Live Well and Thrive. I have a very special guest here, actually two guests for you to meet. George Papadopoulos, did I pronounce that correctly?
You did, Mike.
And his lovely wife, Simona. As you might have heard, that George was President Trump's advisor for his campaign in 2016. And then he got accused by the FBI, and it was a big mess. And his wife got accused of being a Russian spy. And it was just a complete setup. And I'm so glad that you guys are safe. You wrote your book, Deep State, which we're going to talk about, many other things that we're going to share today with the audience. So hold on to your hat here. It's going to be a roller coaster ride when you hear their story. Welcome to the show.
So great to be with you, Mike. Thanks a lot for having us.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Here. So a dear friend of ours, Chris Phillip, introduced us. And I got to say, we had a beautiful lunch, and we bonded. You're Greek and Italian. We're family, food oriented. We kind of clicked. We understand each other. And your wife is so lovely. So I'm
Italian too, by the way.
Oh, you're Italian. Oh,
Yes.
great. I'm not gonna say you're a Russian spy.
Exactly.
You see, smacking a back in the head.
You see, Italian community should bond with me now.
Yeah, no, we support you 100%.
I know.
Yeah, listen, we still have a parade for Columbus, even though they destroyed Columbus Day. All my family, all my friends, they still march the Columbus Day parade.
As they should, Mike.
They should be proud of it. They're taking down statues of these famous people that did wonderful things because it was even John Wayne. They wanted to change John Wayne's airport because he made some statements. I mean, come on. In those days, it was different, Totally. But I want to get back to your story. I mean, wow, it's been a whirlwind with both of you. I mean, it must have been really scary for a while, right?
Mike, it's really a spy thriller kind of situation that if you had asked me if that was even possible in America or in the world, if you asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have just laughed you out of the room. I would have thought you were half a nutcase. But after living the situation that I did and like the lack of trust that I have in the system now, and that millions of people, not just myself, but by extension, millions now have in the system, it's just really shocking. It's mouth-dropping, and I think reform is really needed to really make sure that what happened to me, President Trump, others, and millions of Americans who voted for him doesn't happen again.
Well, I'm concerned because I don't trust the FBI anymore. After their poor behavior, what they did to both of you, and then when he was, the first time, the attempt on his life, where were they? Something wasn't right, and then something is still off, and I'm glad that he has gotten someone there in the FBI now that he can trust, because I used to think they were like solid to protect our country, but they were just being manipulated. Probably someone's pulling the strings for the FBI to make these choices, to make these horrible false accusations. It's terrible. What you both went through is just a tragedy, and I'm so glad you got the book out and you're making the statement and you want to make a difference. And I know that you look to make a movie out of this book now, correct?
That's right. Simone, do you want to kind of give some little background on that and what you went through as well?
Well, yes, I think everything contributes to create this really Hollywood script on its own. When you think about the time I met George, it was at his highest point in life. He was advising the biggest president in history, for me at least. And we were received like a superstar in Mykonos. He was just like this handsome guy going everywhere. And then he invites me to the United States to join him for his birthday. And here I couldn't hear from him anymore. Basically, the Mueller investigation had targeted him. But what I didn't know at the time is that at the very moment I landed in Chicago, I was welcomed by a subpoena by Mueller, myself. As an Italian citizen, who was actually, my background is also in politics. I used to work for the European Union, and then, I was living in London, where actually I used to work for the same company. So we had these parallel lives, let's say, until the moment we crossed each other, and I became accessorily the target of this story just because I fell in love with him. So it's they wanted to portray me as a Russian spy, something like that. Of course, it's ridiculous, but it's ridiculous until it's not, because there are many people who are easily brainwashed, and there are also many bottom feeder out there that don't like your politics, and they will surf that wave to try to discredit you. So it was brutal, but
Well, the point you brought up, I mean, the way you must have felt when you first got the position to be advisor to the most incredible man on this planet and most notable president, and then like to have it ripped off from you, that crown, and like put you in a position of like they want to put you in jail because you're a criminal when you devoted your life for our president, for our country. That must have turned you upside down. I mean, it's disgusting what they did to you.
Well, Mike, it's like you said, you don't trust the FBI, and you probably speak for millions of other people out there that said exactly what you just said and how I started this conversation. If you asked me 10 years ago if I didn't trust the FBI, if I didn't trust the system, I would just think this was like a loony conversation, because I did trust it. I trusted the FBI. That's why when the FBI came to talk to me, like they talked to other people, we all thought, we don't need to have a lawyer to talk to these people. We love our country. These people are good people. They just probably have some questions. President Trump just got into the Oval Office. It's normal. And if we act like we're hiding something, which we had nothing to hide, then we look shady. So I willfully went, spoke to these people, and little did I know, Mike, they were not there to investigate anything, but they were actually planting evidence and framing people like myself and others. And that is the biggest shock of my life. It's like you said, you start from the absolute peak of life. You meet an incredible girl like I did. You're vacationing, you're just getting to know somebody, your career's taking off, and all of a sudden you don't know in the background, in the shadows, what's really happening. That you have different operatives, you have spies, you have honeypots, you have the FBI director basically pointing you out to eliminate you. This was all happening without my knowledge.
Were they tapping your phones without any warrants?
They absolutely were, and this is all.
Is that legal?
It's not legal. That's why this has become the biggest political scandal in history. That's why President Trump, to this day, even when he just had Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, in his office, was talking about the Russia investigation and what a scandal it was, and how it should never have happened, because not only did it contribute to the loss of reputation of the FBI and the government, but I think it also accelerated this conflict with Russia, with Ukraine, all of this type of bad blood that we've had these last years. Millions of people have died as an indirect result. People from the FBI are sitting in prison for what they did today. I had to go to jail for 11 days. President Trump was indicted, convicted. His house was raided. They almost assassinated him. This has been the darkest chapter in American history, but thank God, Mike, we're on the path moving forward. We're getting all of this stuff out there. People are waking up, and we're going to make sure this never happens again.
Well, you're so right. Time to clean house, as they say.
Yeah.
And someone was pulling the strings. And without saying any names, I could think of two presidents that would have a lot of, incentive to want to destroy you and anybody else around Trump, to kind of break up the foundation for him. So you were just someone that was in your way, not really someone was there probably intentionally wanted to go after, but they figured, well, let's first make this guy look like he's corrupt. And then we'll start creating problems with all the other people around Trump, and then go for, the kill with Trump,
Well, no, that's actually exactly what happened. They had targets, right? They had myself, they had a couple others that they went after to try and ultimately get Trump, because he was talking about things that were shaking up the system. There's a pre-2016 world and a post-2016 world when it comes to the media, when it comes to how people absorb and process real information, how they view politicians, how they view the world in general. And Trump's ideas were threatening so many various interests. And I think Clinton was simply in continuation of what Obama's term would have been. That's why they all had these vested interests in her. So they went to the extent to try and frame Simona as somebody that she wasn't, simply because she was defending me and saying, no, George is innocent. George did not do what you're accusing him of. This was all a setup. And they said, okay, she's Italian, but she's white, blonde, blue eyes, so let's make her into a Russian person. I mean, it was crazy. And I mean, you could kind of explain what that was all like, but it goes to show you, not only do they want to destroy your character and your reputation, but you are just a small cog in the wheel of the ultimate thing, which was to take down a president, and they didn't give a crap about me, about her, and others, and that's the very sad thing.
Well, I really feel from after hearing everything you've shared with me and others information I've gathered, it's all about money. Okay? I mean, the FBI should put Fauci in jail. But he was making certain groups billions of dollars. And then when it comes to Trump, they don't want him in there because they have their deals going on worldwide and wires are going to different countries, whatever. And he's just going to screw everything up, So I'm sure the puppets that were manipulating the FBI and other agencies was all about we got to get rid of this guy. And we have to get everybody around him out because they're making money. It's all driven about money. I mean, how could Fauci, all the stuff they exposed to him in Congress, be 10 feet away? Okay, well, what was that all about? He goes, well, I thought it was a good distance. There was no scientific fact on that. Also, he agreed, masks don't protect it because if it doesn't go through your mouth or your nose, it can go through your ears and your eyes. So it was a waste of time to have us always wear the mask, okay? Well, a lot of these things he just made up. But the FBI wouldn't go near him, even though all the animal testing was killing all these beagle puppies that exposed him to all these dangerous drugs, all the horrible things he did. But the FBI ignored it. So everything was about money because they knew the drugs he's talking about for the vaccines makes the government money, or who's behind the curtain, as they say. So you were just a person in the way. You both were. But thank God Donald Trump got in, he pardoned you, and you can move on. But the problem is the court of public opinion. Here you were at a point where you'd have a prestigious career, and with his presidency, what are you going to do now? It's a shame. You were here. So what is your next direction to go? Well, I mean, will they ever allow you to have a position under Trump, or you just think that's something that they can't do because of what happened with court of public opinion?
See, that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked that. So the court of public opinion has completely changed because of social media and because of the advent of new media forms like rivals to the mainstream media, because people right now are getting information from different sources. They can't focus on what Fox News, MSNBC, or ABC is saying because they've lost so much credibility. So when the Washington Post or the New York Times or ABC News were propagating so many fake stories that were later debunked, a lot of them had to do with COVID, Fauci, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Now people are saying, wait a minute, that was all fake. Let me hear directly from George Papadopoulos' mouth and Simona's mouth and the president's mouth. Once these facts came out that what we're talking about here, when I was pardoned, when a lot of these guys at the FBI are sitting in prison right now because of what they did, and there were various investigations, and there are going to be new investigations. Right now, James Comey, the ex-director of the FBI, is under criminal investigation for what he did to me and others. This is all stuff that has completely woken up people. I'm viewed by, I would say, a lot of people, especially in the conservative movement, as almost like a hero in this country because of what I went through, because of what I did and fought back and exposed. I know that the president's team understands that. I was pardoned. And quite frankly, I'm very happy to say I'm very close to these people once again. And you never know what might end up happening in the near future with politics.
I really hope. I got to say, though, I did some online mining, and I noticed the old articles were against you.
Oh, completely.
And now, false accusations, proved your innocence, and... so you're right. The wave is changing, and you got to keep getting out there. And great you did the book, and you got to get this movie done, because when they see the movie, based on a true story, it's a big difference when you just see an action movie like Born Identity. But this is like Born Identity, but it's the real story, a real true life story where you have your love interest. This woman meets you, and she's the woman of your dreams. You're the man of her dreams. All of a sudden, they make you look like a criminal. And all of a sudden, what it did for both you, the emotional scarring, I really feel the government should compensate you for pain and suffering. You know, I don't know if you could do that, but I think they deserve to compensate you for what they did to your family name. Being Greek, you know how important our names are. And to put you through that, I mean, how is your family taking it?
Well, Simona is part of my family. What
Well,
do you think about that? I mean,
Well, first of all, I think this reputation, first of a Greek and an Italian, we both know how much reputation matter.
does.
This is a character assassination, misrepresentation of people and facts. And when you Google these old articles, now finally we know what was happening. We have agencies like USA's that are paying news outlets to build up narratives from scratch that are completely false. And I think, yes, we do have a case to have damages rewarded back. But
Can you go against
America.
the media? Is it the media you can go
No,
after?
I think it's the government first,
Okay.
but there is a collusion here between the government dismissing exculpatory evidence, making up crimes that never happened, starting a book of investigation, of the book investigations that there is no reason to, there is no ground, no legal ground even to start. And then you have the media colluding at the same time, highlighting these crimes against people, targeting people and making them look like somebody who are not. We talk about films and script. Me and George have seen a script of our life unfolding as we were living. They were describing somebody I'm not.
Right.
They were describing my origins in Russia. And the most sad aspect of that is the number of people who buy into that. So I think all America needs, as a case against the government, this is a class action of citizens that have been fooled by people manipulating their election simply not to get Donald Trump elected. So yes, we are victims, but I think we are probably had the resilience and the courage to take the fight, and to today having all our reputation restored.
Do you actually have an attorney that would look into this?
yeah, no, I do.
Okay.
And they really want to look into it. But for me right now, it's all about timing. And it's like I mentioned. So the ex-FBI director is currently under criminal investigation by the sitting FBI director, Kash Patel. This just
Right.
came out about 2 weeks ago.
So it's timing. You got to wait till he gets indicted. Now you could say, here we go.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it's one thing, I wrote the book. We're going to work on hopefully a movie about all this, just so people have a visual of what we're talking about here, and just to kind of see who was involved, which foreign countries were involved, who was pulling the strings, the FBI, the CIA, the political environment. But right now, because it's such a smooth transition into the Trump administration, I personally don't want to shuffle things up with a lawsuit against the sitting government,
yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's still the Department of Justice. However, when this investigation ends into Comey and some of these other guys like Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, if they're indicted, if they're sentenced to prison for some sort of conspiracy, which I believe they will be, then I'm going to go guns
Well, then
blazing.
you can go
then
after
I'm going
them
guns
civilly,
blazing.
too,
That's
right?
exact. That I think
I
that's
think that's the best move, because
That's
then
right.
Trump's going, hey, you're suing.
That's-
I just pardon you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
You understand
No,
what I mean,
think-
Mike? Yeah.
I think that's brilliant, because
Yeah.
everything is in life is timing.
everything.
And, you wait till they get indicted and then they get prosecuted, then boom, you can slap them with the civil lawsuits, which doesn't touch the presidency or the government, because they acted maliciously outside of the realm of their work.
Yeah, because I mean, what's really happening? And there were open investigations after the Mueller investigation called the Durham investigation, and he was looking into what the investigation was up to, and they found so many illegal activities that were done. People were prosecuted, and like I said, we've been exonerated. I've been working in media now for over 5 years. I speak all around the country. So does Simona. We're very good now. Things, thank God,
Yes.
are great, but what they did, they have to pay for what they did, Mike, because if they don't pay, they're going to do it again. And I don't want to see another George Papadopoulos in the future, another young guy with a young girlfriend or wife who just wants to get involved politically go through what I did. It had to stop with me, and I want to make sure it does.
So now, what's next?
Well, we're
I mean, do you have a plan yet, or do you have a few ideas what you plan to do together? I mean, it'd be great for you to, some motivational speaking, maybe like a political correspondent, because you know the inside and outside of everything. You got a great personality. You guys are great energy. You know, I mean, there's so much you can do in a positive way to move on from this until you can, you know, timing's right for the litigations. But I think right now, the world is yours. What do you want to do with it, you know?
What do you think about that, Simona?
Well,
The world.
we have actually you grasped exactly our call, which is to share our experience and motivate people, inform people. That's why we both work in media right now. It works for Newsmax. I work on an entire
great.
series.
Yeah. I've been with them for 5 years now, so it's...
Yeah, well, I met them one time at Steak 48 with Frankie. They're nice guys. Yeah.
They're amazing.
Really, I love their
They're
network. It's fun. So you're actually working with them?
Yeah, I'm a course contributor on there. Yeah, so I'm doing a lot. What you're saying, a lot of political documentaries.
Well, I work for a series with Tucker Carlson.
Fantastic.
Yes, called All the President's Men. The first episode is about George's story. So our story, how it's portrayed, and each episode is dedicated to one target of the Trump circle in 2016. So then I work on political documentaries. You can watch them on Prime Video, Salem now.
Fantastic.
So we have been pretty active, resilient, and with a big coming back. But most importantly, and this is really our baby right now, it's our new show, Global View. We launched this show, and it's about giving our audience a global perspective on what happens in the world, not only in the political world, but also culture-wise, because we merge at some point entertainment with politics, and that's a little bit our
Where is the
little
show
universe.
can be seen?
YouTube.
It's on YouTube. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Okay, I'll look for it. That's fantastic. Yeah, when we air this episode, I'll make sure we have the link.
Thank you.
So people
Thank
can
you.
go to it. You know, even when we do the previews, usually what we do is when we do an interview, we do one preview of highlights of the best sound bites of the interview for 1 week, and then we release it.
Beautiful.
We build up the excitement so people can, I can't wait for this to release next Monday.
Amazing.
You know, so we do that. But that's fantastic. And how's it going with the YouTube? Are you getting subscribers? And
No, it's wonderful. I think we just hit episode 29 or 30. Definitely want to have you on in the
Yes.
future,
Yeah,
of course.
My pleasure.
You know, and it's just been just a journey, you know. And you know one thing, Mike, about this country, which I love so much, America loves the comeback. They love comeback stories. They love second chances, but they want to make sure that you're a credible person to give you that second chance and that comeback story. And I think a lot of, you know, how President Trump fought back, because let's not forget, 4 years ago, he was left for almost politically dead after the whole January 6th situation. They raided Mar-a-Lago. They went through his wife's clothing. He was almost killed. I mean, he was viewed as somebody back then. I never gave up faith in him. I was always supporting him on television, whatever. But they love the comeback in America, and that's exactly what we're doing. That's what we hope we inspire people to do in their own lives too.
That's beautiful.
And
Really.
actually, if I can add something about that, if it wasn't for George at the time, it was the first of a long saga of targets that ended up with Donald Trump himself. But if it was not for his courage to stick to the truth and never bend to what the FBI wanted him to do, which was lying to take down President Trump, today you wouldn't know anything about Russiagate. Today probably Trump wouldn't be in office anymore. And I don't say that because he's my husband, but because I really think he's a national hero.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
how I feel. Really. I mean,
you.
you served and protected our country because you were fighting for our president, who now is taking charge and he's cleaning house. So you should be honored that way, you know. I mean,
Thank you, Mike.
I really, truly believe you're a patriotic man and patriotic woman, and I fully support whatever I can do to help you out. And, you know, I love the fact you can come on the show and share your story. And I want to see what else comes. Maybe we can start later on as the movie starts getting put together. We could talk about how it's evolving and how excited you are. Who would play you and who would play your role?
That's a good
right?
question.
You know, so there's a lot more to talk about. But
Absolutely, Mike.
I wanted to have this initial interview with you so we can get the audience to understand who you are, how hard you worked, both of you, and how you were so resilient. And you're not going to let anything stop you. You know, you feel empowered. And I know your upbringing being Italian, upbringing being Greek, you're stay strong together. You're strong in unity, you know. So you have my full support. So whatever I can do to help you.
Thank you, Mike. It really means a lot to both of us, and it's been an incredible pleasure to join you and your great show, and we're wishing you the best success with anything we can do to
Thank
promote
you.
what you're doing as well, because you're doing incredible things, and we really
Thank you.
appreciate everything you've done for us too.
I truly appreciate that, and I'll make sure to subscribe to your channel.
Thank you, grazie.
Thank you. So if you have anybody you care about, truly care about, share this episode. George and Simona's story is just something that you need to understand how you can get over anything, especially what they went through. Most people would just give up, do drugs, get drunk, fall apart. They got even more empowered. So please, if you have anybody you care about, share this interview. And please subscribe. We need your support. Thanks for watching.